for, checking it out, getting into it as much as you possibly can. Right, indeed, that's true. Okay. Well, I mean, it's up to y'all wherever y'all want to take it. We'll go wherever y'all want to go. Right. Well, I mean, I first heard about the Ben Ishmael tribe from Brother Hakeem H.Y. Bey back around maybe 1993. Yeah, 93, 94. And so telling about some of the earliest sources that we have on the tribe of Ben Ishmael was by Reverend Oscar McLeod. And it was called The Tribe of Ishmael, a study in social degradation back in 1888. And then there was another book that came out around in 1977 by Hugo Prosper Layman, and it was called the Ben Ishmael Tribe, Fugitive Nation of the Old Northwest. So those were some of the books in which that we had. And then there was a recent one that came out around 2009. It was called Inventing America's Worst Family, Eugenics, Islam, and the Fall and Rise of the Tribe of Ishmael. So those three. Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, exactly. So, those are the three particular books, so what we found out is that basically by the 1800s, early 1800s around, which is the early 19th century, there was a group of so-called runaway slaves, those from the African Mandinka descent. Now, we have a dilemma here because some say that these are those who just came here based on the 400 years exploitation / ma'afa of the slave trade, with the Europeans bringing us over here from Africa. But then we also know that that from our studies by Dr. Clyde Winters, he did some fantastic research in which that we find that the Mandinkas, yes, were African. However, they might not necessarily been brought over here because they was part of the Olmec tribes who was already here for over 5,000 years before the European. So this means that we have a dilemma because they might have been of so-called Mandinka descent, but we can't say for sure if it was from the Europeans bringing that portion of us over here, because we do know that about 8 to 15% of our recent heritage did come from Africa, but our 85 to 92% of our heritage was already here in the Western Hemisphere, dating back over 5,000 years ago with the Olmecs, 75,000 years with the Fosums, 100,000 years with the Washita, and 2 million years with the so-called Pygmies or the Twa and New people. All right, so we see that, but then of course, the so-called runaway slaves, they called them from Florida, they called them the Seminoles, who was also the Yamasee. As they went over into Jamaica, they became known as the Maroons. So we still know that they still have the Maroons there. We also know that we have the Eastern Seaboard, Cherokee, and the Tuscarora people. Then you also had the serfs that fled from Kentucky, the fewest, who was the so-called poor or so-called who was the poor whites or so-called whites, who was the indentured servants of Scottish and Irish Celtic descent, who became known from this mixture became known as the Melungeons. And they basically was in the areas of the Ohio Territory, Kentucky. Matter of fact, from out of Kentucky, we have Abraham Lincoln, who was known to be a Melungeon himself. Even down into Tennessee, in which that we find that Elvis Presley and his family was actually of Melungeon, or from this particular mix in which that we talking about from the Ben Ishmael tribe. So there's a lot of things in which that is going on here, which hasn't been explained. And we estimated there had to be a number for, there had to be over 10,000, people that we talking about from the Ishmael tribe, over 10,000. They was called the triracial isolates. And now some of these groups have clearly been founded, at least partly, by what we call Muslim or Muslim Maroons, escaped so-called slave. And the Melungeons descent from Moorish, they was from Moorish descent, what we call the Morisco, all right, who was bought. Right. The Maroons was connected to Moors, bought as so-called slave labor to Florida by way of Spain and abandoned it. This is what is at least said, but we know that there's even a little bit more deeper than that, because we have the Delaware Moors, who was known as the Nanocoats, who was known as the grandfathers, according to the Lenape people called the Nanocoat the grandfather clan. All right, and they themselves, the Lenape, was known as "We the People." This is where the phrase "We the People" is found within the Constitution in the preamble. All right, and so we have the Louisiana Turks, as they was also referred to as the Ben Ishmael tribe of Ohio, all reveal Islamic connections. So we know that even in Cherokee, they many of their chiefs had Islamic names, and there's many towns that you can still find throughout the United States, or as we would say, out of America, throughout America, in which that shows you find towns named Mecca, Medina, Turkey, Ishmael. There's all types of towns and roads and bridges and different names named after indigenous, Aborigine, Moors, and as we know, they all intermarry. They intermarry. We have the Shawnee people who had lost their land to the early colonists and have moved inland to territory set aside for them by allied tribes. And together they formed a new tribe called the Ben Ishmael tribe. All right, so they were part Shawnee, part Cherokee, part Tuscarora, part Yamasee or Seminole, which are the Maroons, and Mandinka. So that's a lot of, darkness up in there. Then you get the poor whites, who was of Scottish, Irish, Celtic descent, as they say. But we know that the original Celtics were so-called black, based on what we read from Ancient and Modern Britons, Volume 1 and Volume 2 by David McRitchie. Right. And this was really way before the 1700s. As we know, these tribes already existed and already had treaties with one another prior to this. Right. That's right. And and what was their language? Their language was Arabic, and their native language was Mandinka or Mandinka. So we know that they spoke Arabic. So of course this would come into play as far as the Islamic value to it, because the Mandinka, you can go there now to Mali, and by large they are Islamic. You know, so this is the same type of Islam that they brought here, which was not the type of Islam that we know of the Arabs, because we know Africans practice Islam very differently, you know, than the Arabs, the pale Arabs. Yeah, no doubt about it. Right. 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 Right, exactly. Right. Right. Right, exactly. 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 Right. Well, Beverly Pastor Randolph, he was a Melungeon. He was part of the Ben Ishmael. He was descended from that family line. Yeah, and see if you read his book, he states in the book that his mother was of Moorish descent. He states this in the book. Okay. Oh, it's Beverly Pastor Randolph. That's the name of the book. Is his book. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was a Rosicrucian. Matter of fact, he was the head of the Rosicrucians in the world. So he basically was the head of what we would refer to as the Illuminati. All right. You know. Right. Matter of fact, within the degrees of the Rosicrucian, once you get to the 9th degree, you are an Illuminati. You are an Illuminatus. Right. You're illuminated. Exactly. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 That's really what they talk about, is the Syrian beings. You have the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, which was reborn to Hermetic Brotherhood of Light. You also have the Asiatic Brethren. You know, these are all Rosicrucian slash Kemetic, you know, orders based off, all of it is based off the ancient mystery school of Egypt, you know, which is told to us within Stolen Legacy by George D. James.
Shafiq said Pastor Beverly Randolph was assassinated in his hometown, Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio. They go Ohio, exactly.
It was the old West End historic district.
Right. So it was in Ohio, and hence, remember, we just finished reading about the Ishmaelites coming from the Ben Ishmaelites coming from out of Ohio. He was one of the descendants in which that stayed in that area. And see, so we know that in 1858, the Supreme Grand Dome met in Paris, in which that they bestowed upon him through the grand ritual that was performed. They made him the Supreme Grand Master of the Fraternity of the Rosicrucians for the Western world. That's North, Central, and South America, and the islands of the sea, which is the Caribbean or Caribbeans. You know, so essentially he was the Supreme Grand Master of all the Rosicrucians in the world, i.e. the head of the Illuminati. You know? Right. Right. Well, that was more so probably within the order of Amark, which is the ancient mystic order of the Rosicrucians, or Rosicrucians. So Amark is there from out of there in California. So those are the ones in which that was probably more so Hellenized. Marcus Beverly Pastor Randolph, his organization still reside within Ohio and Pennsylvania, in the Pennsylvania area. And there's been a battle for the last 100 some odd years over which one is the true Rosicrucian order. And what we find out is that the information on which that was belonged to Beverly Pastor Randolph is actually still within Pennsylvania to this very day, coming from the order of Rosicrucians from out of that region.
Okay.
Right. Well, see, what happened is that in Paris, Yorker met Beverly Pastor Randolph, and he was initiated by a secret priestess of the Ismaili Muslims. And Yorker passed on the traditions of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, to Beverly Pastor Randolph. And this is why in 1858, that Supreme Grand Dome had to meet in Paris, because they had to find out where would Beverly Pastor Randolph sit at within that order, because he was already initiated into some pretty high orders, in which that Aleister Crowley and different other ones was heavily influenced by Beverly Pastor Randolph, in which that, of course, Aleister Crowley goes on to pervert the teachings of Beverly Pastor Randolph and forms the OTO, which is the Ordo Templi Orientis. Right, the Asiatic Brethren. Right. Well, the overlap comes in that with another individual who, you know, Beverly Pastor Randolph taught Madame Blavatsky, who formed the Theosophical Society. So the Theosophical Society is a branch of the Rosicrucians. And then, of course, we know that there was others that came from her. You had the Anthroposophical Society, which came Rudolf Steiner. And Rudolf Steiner formed the Anthroposophical Society, and Adolf Hitler studied his information as well as also Madame Blavatsky's information. He used to sleep with a copy of the Secret Doctrine underneath his pillow. Right. Right. To control the lower man, which is the lower self, the lower nature, the lower mind, because that is oftentimes what gets us in trouble. So these spiritual orders was put into play in order to make sure that a man or one man could control themselves in that regard. Right. Right, exactly. Right. 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 The reason why is because I already made mention of Madame Blavatsky, along with, you know, with her being taught by Beverly Pastor Randall, but another teacher of hers that she verifies was also Jamal Afghani. You know, so he also taught her. You know, in Egypt during the mid 1800s, Madame Blavatsky met and was taught by Jamal ad-Din al-Afghani. You know, as she referred to as Serapis Bey as one of the secret chiefs or ascended masters. All right. There was all pseudonyms who reportedly belonged to the Asiatic Brethren or the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, you know, who was aiding humanity to evolve into a race of supermen, superhumans. Yeah. You might be able to find them online in some shape. You know, you have the Asiatic Brethren or the Brethren of Purity, the Brotherhood. or the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. So you might be able to find some connections online here. I would just look up and check. Yeah, I was just saying that you can definitely go and check and see if you can. Right, because he also not only did he teach Madame Blavatsky, he also taught Prophet Noble Ali's family. You know, from out of Brooklyn, right, from out of Brooklyn, New York. You know, and that the family members belong to the Moorish Zionist temple from out of Brooklyn, which was formed Zionist temple. They was so-called Moorish Hebrews. All right. Yes, but there was other that carried on the mantle, and I'll go to that. That's who I'm gonna show later on in this presentation. Right. Okay. There's others that carried on, you know, that mantle. You know, we have many who carried on, like Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford. We have Chief Rabbi Arthur Matthew. You know, so they carried it on. Mm-hmm. Blavatsky. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, well, she was definitely important because it was in Cairo, like I said, where Madame Blavatsky met Jamal Din Afghani, who was one of the most outstanding Muslim thinkers at that time. And he was a radical political leader and a Sufi teacher. You know, so he taught Sufism. He didn't teach that just that Arab Islam, that Orthodox Islam that we're used to now, that many of our brothers and sisters have converted into. You know, right? Exactly. Right. And see, from the Madame Blavatsky school, I mean, we find Rudolf Steiner, who's the founder of the Anthroposophical Society. Even Albert Pike, 33 Degrees Mason, was a member of the Theosophical Society. And Manly P. Hall, who's the leading Masonic historian and founder of the Philosophical Society, was part of the Theosophical Society. So this is how we keep finding these connections over and over again. One secret order after another secret order. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's why Madame Blavatsky had to tell the truth when she said that the Moors was profoundly versed in the occult sciences at Toledo, Seville, and at Salamanca were once upon a time the great school of magic. And she was telling you that it came from the Moors. Or the guardians, that's right. Just like it's told to us in Stolen Legacy by George G. James, where he said that the Moors were the guardians of the ancient mysteries of Egypt, which they preserved and they took with them into Europe. And these were some of the teachings that civilized them. Because they remember in the Dark Age, they was in the Dark Age at this time. So the Moors came into Europe with the light. That's right. That's right. Exactly. Yep. Ash chew. Right. You sneezing. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've revealed all the secrets through my videos. You know, only thing that would be missing would be simply the handshake or either the so-called word in which that is expressed during each ritual. You know, so you know, but other than that, everything has already been revealed. I mean, there's nothing in which that has not already been written in a book that you could read. I mean, you can read all of this information nowadays. So there is no real secret. Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. Right. That's right. Yeah. Right. Well, I would start with Deuce Muhammad Ali because Deuce Muhammad Ali not only also he taught Marcus Garvey, but he also taught Noble Drew Ali, who was known as Timothy Drew or Thomas Drew at the time. So we see this man here in particular, you know, had connection with both of them. You know, it's Deuce Muhammad Ali. So, you know, and he was a Bey Ifani, Deuce Muhammad Ali Bey Ifani. We know that really the Pan-Islamists, the Pan-African, African nationalists, a lot of that stuff really started with him in a sense, you know, along with Edward Blyden, you know, those two, you know, because Edward Blyden, along also with Martin Delany, who was a master mason, who was also a mason, but they would be also called the father of what we call Black nationalism. You know, Blyden is the one who popularized the term Africa for Africans. You know, and he's the one who sparked Martin Delany, another father of what is now called the Black nationalism. And these two men in particular is the ones who help influence Marcus Garvey. Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. That's Sweet Daddy Grace. Right. 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 Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Exactly. Right. Right. Exactly. And plus, it is said that the more science in which that they had at the time was called the Memphis Rite. So he was a 96-degree shrine of the Memphis Rite. His parents, he himself and his parents, he was born in Alexandria, Egypt, to an Egyptian father, Abdul Salim Ali, and a Sudanese mother. So he was from Africa, you know. And actually, Ali met W.B. Du Bois right after he founded the Ancient Times and Orient Review. He taught Marcus Garvey, you know. So, I mean, this guy here was very influential during this time period. And plus, he was also a Rosicrucian. He belonged to the Rosicrucian Fellowship, you know. And when he died, the people who came to his funeral was like George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells, Annie Besant. This is why I have put Annie Besant up in here. You know what I'm saying? You know, and he had them writing for him in his magazine. You know, here he is on the African Times and Oriental Review, and he had George H.G. Wells, George Bernard Shaw, Annie Besant, Booker T. Washington, Garvey. He had all of them writing for him. And he's not spoken about. Why? Okay. Yeah, I got you. Right. 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 That is the name in which that allegedly was given to Noble Drew Ali by the Sultan Abdul Aziz Abu of the Saudi family. This is the name in which that he supposedly had received in 1924. Right, that's true. Nothing new under the sun. Yeah, I'm just saying nothing new under the sun. But of course, the great influence upon Marcus Garvey, of course, was Booker T. Washington. He was one of the most influential people to Marcus Garvey. You know, matter of fact, Marcus Garvey wrote to him, you know, and told him that he was coming over. But unfortunately, you know, when he finally arrived, Garvey finally arrived, you know, Washington had died the previous year, you know, so that's what happened, you know. So basically, Garvey wasn't deterred, you know what I'm saying? No, was he sat back. He went on ahead and pursued and continued going and moving forward, you know. Look over there. Well, I mean, number one, you know, he was a Maroon, so he was from Jamaica. And of course, I mean, this information about the Moorish heritage, this is something in which that they was already writing upon, you know, coming from the African, review, under Deuce Muhammad Ali. You know, they was already writing on the Moorish connection, in Africa and throughout Europe and so forth and so on. This is why, if you notice, when you read the Circle 7, divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Ali, he wrote it based on Marcus Garvey being the forerunner. All right. And he coming behind Marcus Garvey and simply trying to put the rest of the pieces of the puzzle together as far as nationality is concerned. Marcus Garvey spoke much about nationality. I mean, it's throughout his books, it's throughout his his audio tapes. I mean, he speaks about it. So the thing is just being able to put the keys together. And that's what was happening. Plus, when you read, go ahead. No, I was just saying, and plus, when you read on Marcus Garvey, there was a section in the book, and it says, "Fight for Negro rights and liberty began in real earnest. If the enemies could only know that Marcus Garvey is but a John the Baptist in the wilderness." Well, within the Holy Quran Circle 7, it states exactly that Marcus Garvey was our John the Baptist. He was the forerunner. And so normally it came, if he was John the Baptist, then of course, the individual who came behind him was the Christ, in the sense of the Christ in crisis. We was in a crisis during the 1920s. You know what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey got exiled. He ended up going to Jamaica. He ended up, basically not just going to Jamaica, but ended up going to London, where he died, 1940. But he was exiled from the United States. Well, that's because Marcus Garvey was saying specifically that if the gold is good for the gold and the oil and the diamonds are good for the Cagneys, the Fords, the Rockefellers, and the Rothschilds, and all of them, then it's good for us too. We need to be there and make a presence in Africa, so that we can get the resources and build our infrastructure. And he always said that I didn't mean I was going to take every Negro back to Africa. I was just going to take the, the most intelligent ones back to Africa, so that we can get these businesses going, so that we can build this infrastructure here within the Western world. We was going to use the diamonds and the gold and the silver of Africa, and who else to use it? The children of Africa should also be able to use those resources in order to build our infrastructure. Right. Right. Well, I mean, this is what he said. He said, why should not Africa give to the world its Black Rockefeller, Rothschilds, and Henry Ford? Now is the opportunity. Now is the chance for every Negro to make every effort towards a commercial, industrial standard that will make us comparable with the successful businessmen of other races. That's exactly what Marcus Garvey said. He said if the oil, he said if the oil of Africa was good for the Rockefellers' interests, if the iron ore was good for the Cogneys trust, then surely these minerals are good for us. Why should we allow Wall Street and the capitalist groups of America and the other countries to exploit our country when they refuse to give us a fair chance in the countries of our adoption? Why should not Africa give to the world its Black Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and Henry Fords? Now is the opportunity. Now is the chance for every Negro to make every effort towards a commercial industrial standard that will make us compatible with the successful Black businessmen of other races. So this is why Marcus Garvey goes on to create the international shipping company called the Black Star Line. Also, he purchased an auditorium in Harlem and named it Liberty Hall. This is why Prophet Noble Ali named his in Chicago Unity Hall. Then of course Marcus Garvey held nightly meetings that gave out the message, sometimes to an audience of 6,000. You know what I'm saying? Garvey organization was extremely popular. The UNIA held an international conference in 1921 at the New York Madison Square Garden. You know, yeah. Well, they were saying that, you know, that 50,000 people was in attendance at that event, and they said what the UNIA said had 65 to 75,000 members paying dues to his support and funding. You know, but we talking about what Marcus Garvey and the UNA established. We're talking about over 700 branches in 38 states and over 2 million members by the early 1920s. And this was without radio, without TV. Well, I think they did have a little bit of radio, but they only had the only thing they really had was the newspapers. Exactly. There was no TV, there was no internet. Now think about it. I mean, there's no TV, no internet. You know what I'm saying? And at one time, Garvey claimed to have 6 million members. Right. Yeah. Right. 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 That's right. 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 700 branches. Right. Yes, that is said who made the red, brought together the colors red, black, and green. But even then, what we're looking at is actually the colors from out of ancient Kemet, because you will see all of the pharaohs wearing the red, black, and green upon resurrection. You would see them with their arms crossed over, just like you did in the Black Panther movie. When they greeted, they greet with the arms over. That actually is an ancient Egyptian symbol of resurrection. That's what that X symbolizes, the resurrection. And the collar around their neck, just like the Masons wear collars, but this particular collar is red, black, and green. And then the throne in which that Saw sat upon, which is the throne, which Set is the throne herself. So he sat on the throne, which is Set, and the colors of Set was red, black, and green. So those colors was colors in which that was very ancient. Those are very ancient colors. Right, colors of Heru. Yes, exactly. Well, those colors represents together is resurrection, like I was saying. So whenever you see, of course, Marcus Garvey explained it like this. Of course, black symbolize our melanin hue, our color approaching the color of black. And then, of course, red symbolizes our blood, the blood that's been shed through the various wars, is by blood, sweat, and tears, basically, as they say. And then, of course, green symbolizes the land itself. So the green land, also the green hue of Saw, these colors. Saw was also green in the conscious world, but in the underworld, he was black, the Lord of the perfect black. And then upon the resurrection, there's even red, because he himself bringing forth a son, which is Heru, through Set, and he himself having had a penis of clay made by Tahuti, in which that Set transformed into a bird, into the Ba, and flapped her wings so hard until he orgasmed, in which that she was able to form Heru within her womb. So Heru can become the Kodesh, which is the Christ or anointed. So all of this is symbolic, but all of this is talking about, and see, the red comes in with Heru, symbolizing as the sun coming up over the horizon. That was symbolic to the red sun coming up over the horizon. But it also symbolizes the setting sun too, which is actually Set or Atum, as the sun is going down. It's the red sun. So all of this symbolizes those two things. Right. So he was taught in all the ways of Egypt. Mm-hmm. Right. Nakash. Yep. And the snakes. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Right. Right. Exactly. Dropping it. Right, right, right. Awesome. Right. That's true. It's true. Right. Yeah. Well, you get the book Freemasonry and the Black Muslim Movement in America by Michael Snyder's. He stated that Marcus Garvey was a member of the Prince Hall Freemasonry. Now, Madam Lefkowitz, who did battle with Dr. Ben Yakinen, and he spanked her behind very well. Even had to admit that to an extent, the UNIA was organized along Masonic lines. It had a significant benevolent function. It had a constitution based on the Masons. It also had a potentate and a potentate helmet closely resembling the ceremonial hats worn by Masons in special parades, which of course we got the pictures of Marcus Garvey here. And he looks identical, nearly identical to the Masonic emblems and everything worn by the so-called Black Masons, as well as also the European Masons. So what we find that you get, according to famous Negro Masons, it says Marcus Garvey, founder of the United Negro Improvement Association, which actually should be the Universal Negro Improvement Association, was a Freemason and belonged to a lodge in Ponce, his native city in Jamaica. And I give the website where people can go and actually look that information up. So there is no doubt about it. You know, we find 3 different sources in which that state specifically that that Marcus Garvey was a Mason. You know, and the Garveyites wore fezzes. All right. And as you was talking about Carlos Cooks, Garveyite, who was one who helped form the flag, but also he was the one who was over the, I guess you would say, the military branch of the UNIA, in which that you see them wearing fezzes. So we know that that was part of the nationality, you know, that Marcus Garvey was bringing back, you know. So we find it later on, you know, less than a year later, because Marcus Garvey said to come in 1913, and then Noble Drali, in 1913, And they both came around the same time, 1913, 1914. They both came around that same time. It is said that Prophet Noble Drew Ali came around 1913, and then Marcus Garvey came around 1914 with the UNIA. But we know that they was connected by way of Deuce Muhammad Ali. There's no doubt about that. Right, that's the connection. Right. 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 Well. At each temple meeting of the Moorish Science Temple, Garvey was lauded as the John the Baptist who had prepared the way for the coming of Noble Drew Ali. Now, when Leonard Smith, the president of the Detroit UNIA division, cable Garvey to report that Ali was using Garvey's name to win over followers and that UNIA members were joining his movement, Garvey replied, "I know nothing of this man referred to. It was silly for people to allow every unknown person to agitate and influence them on such serious matters. I have spoken and written enough for the people of Detroit to understand purpose of organization and not allow strangers to decoy and exploit them by calling on and using my name." Now, this is Smith to Garvey, allegedly September 27th, 1927. Now, funny, this is why I went back and found that in the same, just a month later, because this was September the 1927, allegedly that came from Garvey to Smith. But interestingly, it's reported by the UNA that in 1927, Garvey claimed to know nothing about Ali or organizing efforts using his name. Obviously, this is not completely true because following postcard and article states otherwise. Note, it claims that the above picture is not of Noble Drew Ali. However, the below information proves nevertheless that Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali did have personal contact. And here it is. This is 23, 1927. So this is less than a month later. Noble Drew Ali goes to the South. This is actually written in the Chicago Defender, right? Garvey, he goes to meet Garvey. And it says right here, it says, Noble Drew Ali, prophet, founder and head of the Moorish National Divine Movement, had returned to the city after an extended visit in the South. Prophet Ali motored from Chicago to Atlanta, Georgia, where he spent a few hours visiting Marcus Garvey in the federal prison. Mr. Garvey was very much pleased with the splendid uplift work being done by the Moorish Divine Movement. The organization had launched a drive for more members, persons desirous of learning of the great works that is being done, and asked to write Prophet Ali at 360 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Phone Douglas, I think that's 5909. But here we have the actual postcard. So this was written in the Chicago Defender, all right, in November 19th, 1927, on his way on him coming back. But on the 10th of the 23rd, which is less than a month later, he went and visited. And it says here, Atlanta, Georgia, dear wife, I have been to see Mr. Garvey at the federal prison. I will be home Friday or Saturday. Love always, from your husband, Noble Drew Ali. The front cover of the prophet's postcard to his wife at that time was Sister Pearl Drew Ali. While at the federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia, visiting Marcus Garvey, this picture is the rendition of the federal prison where Marcus Garvey was housed. Inside of the prophet's postcard to his wife at the time, this is what was written on it right here. So I show the front as well as also the back of the card, So we know that maybe that was made mention on September 1927, but by October 1927, it was a change of mind, So the identification with Marcus Garvey is interesting in that it attempts to align more science with the vision and visibility of the Garvey movement while claiming a far greater authority from Noble Drew Ali by way of analog with the prophet of old. While Noble Drew Ali clearly thought highly of Marcus Garvey and even more highly of himself, there was no evidence that Garvey reciprocated the sentiments. This is what is being said now, except when I put this postcard up, and then of course, you know, those things had to change. You know, right, right, right. And I showed the actual postcard is right here. Right, right, right. So this is where it says on the picture above in the right side of the which is actually from a book. It's called Black Crescent, the Black Crescent, the experience and the legacy of African Muslims in the Americas by Michael Gomez. It says on page 227, it states that Garvey in September 1927 had never heard of Noble Drew Ali, and that this may be true. However, based on the postcard above, it was dated October 23rd, 1927, which is a month later. Obviously, by this time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Mosiah Garvey had met. Further research on behalf of the author was not done. Therefore, it was necessary to update the Moorish legacy. So this is why I updated it. This was also the year 1927 that the Moorish Science or the Moorish Holy Quran Circle 7 was published, stating all authority and rights and publication of this publication in 1927, in which that makes mention of Marcus Garvey as being the forerunner. It's in chapter on the end of time and the fulfillment of the prophecies. It says, in this modern day, there came a forerunner, John the Baptist of Jesus, who was divinely prepared by God, by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who had teached and warned the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet. Therefore, this passage was written in 1927. Now we know for sure that Prophet Noble Drew Ali met with Marcus Garvey, who can assume that the Moorish Holy Quran Circle 7 was soon written after October the 23rd, 1927 of the same year. The following passage was taken from the Negro World, edited by Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and it states the origin of the concept of Marcus Garvey coming as John the Baptist. So this is why I showed this, and here it is, where it says that if the enemy shall only know that Marcus Garvey is but a John the Baptist in the wilderness. All right, so this is in 1923, you know, in the Negro World, which was Marcus Garvey newspaper. The Negro World was his newspaper. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. All right. 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 Yeah, well, they was members of Temple Number 4 under brother J. Lomax Bay, who was the governor in Detroit, Michigan, which was established October the 1st, 1927. And it was located at 1023 Illinois Street and 1060 at 632 Livingston Street. So that's where they were. And how we know that for a fact is because this same temple, after Lomax left and went to Turkey and Egypt and so forth and so on, we find that Master Muhammad, who was known as David Ford L, and also Elijah Muhammad, transformed that same very temple into what we now known as Allah's Temple of Islam, which becomes later on the Nation of Islam. So it's the exact same temple. So if you wasn't a member, how did you get access in order to transform that temple into Allah's Temple of Islam, which was also a nickname that was being used at the time within the Moorish Science Temple of America. It was known also as Allah's Temple of Islam.
Okay.
Yes, that's the original temple, Temple Number 4, coming from out of Detroit. That's in Chicago. And you know, you can go and do your research on Temple Number 1. There's several Temple Number 1s now in Chicago, due to the split. Temple Number 2 was in Charleston, West Virginia. Temple Number 3 was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then you have Temple Number 4, which was in Detroit, Michigan. Right. Right. Okay. No, I can't think of anything, brother. Like you said, we can get into more information at a later date. Definitely. Right. You can go to Healing Wings Institute online. You would go to home and then come down to events to the arrow, and then it will scroll down to Healing Wings Institute online. And you can go there and find out our classes. Also, if you need me for a lecture or presentation, you can go there. We have various classes in which that we hold, and which that we've been holding and have held over the last 10 years, online classes. We have iridology, in which I was trained and certified by Dr. Paul Gauss, Grandmaster Iridologist, as well as Master Herbalist.
What's that?
Irisology is I can actually look into your eyes and see where illness may take place or where it has already taken place and prescribe or recommend, suggest you the herbs in which that would be needed in order to heal, whether it's inflammation, congestion, degenerative or regenerative stages of organs or your organ system. Right. 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 Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, you would go to ancestral herbs. Ancestral herbs. You would come to store and go to ancestral herbs, organic and wildcraft health products. Is the first one. Right. 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 Oh yeah, definitely. We have many herbs. The various teas. You can go to the ancestral teas, which are down towards the bottom of the page, in which that deals with a vast amount of healing information. We have the green blend, in which that is what you're talking about. We also have for high blood pressure, HP blend. We have for PS, which is prevent stroke. We have diabetes blend, DB, diabetes blend, and different other. Yeah, you also have, you can actually smoke the BD blend, in which that we have, which helps to cleanse the lungs and activate areas in the brain, pineal gland, and so forth and so on. Yes. You can use the hydrogen peroxide in order to basically heal any bacteria, virus, in which that is in the body. Right. Right. Yeah. Yes. We have worm away. Right. We have worm away. Yeah, worm away. in which that worms, parasites can render the body, the entire body, especially if you have pets. If you ate at a sushi bar, walked outside barefooted, if you didn't get a chance to wash your fruits and vegetables properly, if you don't wash your hands, before eating, having sex or kissing someone that has worms, well, this right here will knock the worms out, the parasites out. We also have mucus remover, in which that does the same thing, because Dr. Sebi said that there's only one disease, and that's mucus. Well, we have what's called the mucus remover. We also have mold cleanse. With the mold cleanse, M-O, mold cleanse, which means major organ cleanse. What we do, we basically to stop and eliminate all problems of the colon, kidneys, liver, spleen, and other organs where toxins can build up. We help to, get rid of all that mucus and all the poisons and toxins that is built up within those areas, to help remove and eliminate the stress, the sluggedness, the headaches, the migraines, the tiredness, the fatigue, so forth and so on. People oftentimes feel like that, but this is real bitter. This mold cleanse is bitter because we have aloe ferox in it. We have casagara, we have chaparral, and anybody knows those three are the most bitter plants you can utilize. So we know that. Right. Right. That's to lose weight, to clean yourself of mucus. It helps get rid of bacteria, viruses, parasites, worms from out of your digestive system. Also, depends on how long you might have had the situational problems. We say if you had the situation, let's say you had a situation for 1 year, then we would say, well, you would use it for at least a month then, and that will help the situation. But if you done had the situation for 10, 15, 20 years, then, you definitely would want to take it off and on for several months. One sister that we know that we utilize, it controls her allergies. She has severe allergy issues, and she's basically allergic to almost everything. But when she takes these herbs, in particular of the aloe ferox, she don't have that situation. She don't have that problem. She don't have the problem with all the sneezing and coughing and hacking that she normally do because of the buildup of mucus in her body, as well as also of the environment.
Wow.
Right. 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 Yeah, we normally do worm away, mucus remover, and then once we do that, then we do mold cleanse, and then we put them on the chi power. These particular herbs are $20 each. They are in capsules and veggie capsules. They're organic, either wildcraft herbs. We grow some of these herbs ourselves, my wife and I. So, I mean, they're $20. Mm-hmm. Right, you right. A person who's trying to cleanse themselves out, they would take worm away and mo cleanse. If they trying to Right, if they trying to do a quick clean out, they would do they would do mucus remover and worm away. Mm-hmm. Right, you would take them two. Right, you would take 2 pills 2 to 3 times a day. Yes, yes, it's a month supply. Right. Well, it depends. If you see major improvement within that 1 month, then then that's fine. But if not, then you probably will have to keep taking it for another few weeks in order to make sure that you're getting the clean out that is needed. 'Cause I mean, we've eaten a lot of toxic food, and this GMO thing isn't getting no better. Oh, they would feel the energy once again. They would feel light. They would feel light from the cleanse. They would have more energy. They would have more focus. They'd be able to think much more clearer. So it's many things that they would begin to start noticing. Their mind isn't as cluttered as it normally is. Right. 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 Um, no, I don't have anything else. But yeah, let's get to the Z Black card. Right. Well, we know normally, you know, people, I know when the green dot card came out, everybody was going crazy over that. When the Rush card came out, they was going crazy over that because the commercial was all over TV. Well, those cards have tremendous amount of fees associated with them. Well, the Z Black card does not have much fees to no fees. All right. You can actually go and load your card at basically at a full line, or which is what we refer to as Western Union, or either you can do it at MoneyGram, which is in Walmart, and you can actually put money onto your card. And normally when you take money, you know, from off of a card, it's $2.50 to $3, if not more. They charging you for taking your own money out, you know, of an ATM machine. Well, with this card, there's no fee. Or if there is, it would be just simply $1. It wouldn't be $3. So you saving right. So you saving right there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Well, it's a debit card that acts as a credit card, because you know normally when you go to a store, you know, and you put your information in, they ask you, do you want it to be debit or credit? All right, so it actually can act as a credit card. And so there's special things in which that for hotel stays, for rental cars. Matter of fact, there's a story about a brother who went to one of the, rent a car places, Budget or whatever the case is, and he was trying to rent a car for 2 days, and so of course they was trying to add all these fees to it, so it got up to over $200 to $300, and so he simply gave her the card, and once she added up the fees, it was actually for the 2 days it was $47. So all those fees magically disappeared. You can also get free money orders, with this card. And it also boosts your credit, because most people credit, most people don't even know that you can have credit over 800, let alone that this card can boost your credit up to almost 999, which is the credit rate of those who are extremely well off,
Okay, so this is so what I understand now associating
Right. Well, basically, right. This is a secured credit card. This card can also be used as a prepaid card that you can load to make your purchases. It allows you to have a secured credit line. up to $10,000. It can also help you establish and rebuild your credit history with responsible use. Good credit or a bank account is not required to get a card. You can do direct deposit, money transfers to your card. You can save a ton of money on the number of fees on your card. You can also withdraw your money from the bank teller of any bank. You can load money to your card with the INGO phone app. You can also use Western Union, MoneyGram to load your card. And there's never any late fees, overdraft fees, or transfer fees. Also, there is never any point of sale fee with your card, and over 70,000 in network ATM with no more than a $1 fee. So this card, instead of you normally being charged $3 to get your own money out, with this card, you may be charged no fee or either $1 fee. Right. It's the added addition of network marketing at the same time. Success partnership. And basically we are in a successful partnership with the company, which is quote unquote Moorish owned, so-called black owned by a brother whose name, who's a millionaire. His name is Troy Mason. And this brother, you can actually call him right now and talk to him one-on-one, you know. So he's not far away. He don't have a lot of you don't have all these bodyguards in front of him and all this other stuff. You can actually talk to him. He has a heart for the people, you know, and that's what's going on. And so we deal with the brothers and sisters who like that, you know, because that means that they real, you know. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Right. Right. And plus it's tied to a trade line that goes back a month once you get it. So, I mean, we talking about the world's first secured prepaid elite rewards debit card. And it's the world's first secured prepaid elite rewards debit card. You know, so it's the ultra elite rewards card, you know, and basically it's metal. You know, it's just like the same type of card I went to Wood Forest Bank, which is inside of it's inside of Walmart, and I pulled it out, you know, because I was getting ready to load some money onto it. And the lady was like, "Oh, hold up, this is heavy. Hold up, what is this? I've never seen this before." And then the sister came around on the side and said, "That's a black card." Yeah. Clank, clank. Exactly. Right. Right. Well, this can definitely help it make it right side up. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah, 3x10. Yup, it's a 3x10, bro. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 50%. Right. 50%. Right. Right. So once you bring in two people, you get your money right back. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 That's right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's right. Right. So yeah, she was telling she was telling me that I definitely need to tell you about brother Troy here. He said why I created the Z Black card. He said, well, hello, my name is Troy Mason, and I'm the president and CEO of Ztegrity. Ever since I can remember, I've been in business. When I was 3 years old, my mom took me to an Easter egg hunt, and she told me that I was selling my eggs to the other children for a dime. Thank God wired in me in a way to allow me to see things in a unique manner. He blessed me with the ability and preservation to create products and services around the things that most people ignore. Here are just a few. I created DreamStarters.USA.com, which is a service that helps kids to set positive career goals. I created SafeReturnPetTag.com, which is a product that helps pet owners get their pets back even if they're stolen. I created ZScholars.com, which is a product that helps parents teach their children important life lessons. I created ZLicense.com, which is a clear plastic medical sleeve for your driver's license. In the event of medical emergencies, our Z license product allows for responders to access an online medical file setup and maintained by the person in need. All of these are wonderful products, and you will learn more about them later. However, in my humble opinion, nothing that I have done in my past can compare to the ZBlackCard.com. Z Black Card is more than a product. It is a financial revolution. This product can help people to understand the power of a dollar and how taking control of every single dollar can change their life. It's time to start giving our financial power away for free. Trust me when I tell you that whether you are rich or poor, that your very thing in life is strong as a group of people who have made a financial decision to make a change. Welcome to Ztegrity, Troy Mason. Yeah. See? Well, see, Marcus Garvey was a Mason, and his brother name is Troy Mason. So, hey. That's right. 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 Because think about it. If you have a credit number, you know, over 850, you talking about almost 900 or so. I mean, what loan could you not get? You know, with no interest, you know, or very little interest. You know what, you know, in other words, we can get grocery stores, we can get gas stations, we can do these things now, in which that was before, it was just a fantasy. You know, Negroes sitting around the damn card table talking and japping about, yeah, you know, I'm going to get it, you know, and it never get done. You know, with this, you can get the money, you know, loan in order to do a school and everything else that you need to do. Remember, Jay-Z just told us on the 444 album, you know, about the Jews, how they run the world and how they did what they did. He said, you know how they did it? Credit. Yeah, so we can keep, you know, talking about I'm out the system all we want. You ain't out no damn system because you ain't do nothing with that birth certificate. And you out the system with a cell phone, you on Facebook, you on Instagram, you on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You ain't out the system. Sorry. You know, stop lying. Yeah. Right. Of course. Exactly. But this public and private. So you got to master both. Noble Drew Ali one foot was in, the left foot was in the water and the right foot was on the land. So what that mean is that, right? You got to master the maritime amorality laws, which is mentioned in the Constitution. Amorality law is mentioned in the Constitution, as well as also constitutional common law. You know, and all of that, and the fact that he was carrying the woman symbolizes the equity. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about all three laws was right there on the cover of the 101 of the Quran questionnaire. You know what I'm saying? So we have to start thinking, you know, and stop lying to ourselves. Right. They do. Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. 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 As if it is, yup. Exactly. Perfect. All right, no doubt about it. And also, we want to mention that in about 3 weeks, we have our event coming up, September the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's going to be right here in North Carolina. For those interested, you can give us a call at 910-364-9099. And that is going to be right here in North Carolina, and it's the Healing Wings Institute. And we will have alternative healing classes, expos, seminar. It will be a 3-day event of the most enlightening information on the planet. And we will be going into Qigong, Tai Chi, Reiki, pranic healing, acupressure, iridology, everything that we can. And also there's even a chance of getting certified. You can get a certificate in Reiki 1, pranic healing 1, which is basic, as well as Qigong and Tai Chi 1. So you can actually get certified in these areas at this particular event. So we asking everybody to come on out and check that out, September the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. All right. All right. Right. All right. Oh yeah, no problem. Appreciate you having me, brother. Thank you. Yeah, she over here smiling and doing the African chant right now. Yeah, she appreciate that. Indeed. Indeed, brother. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, well, like I said, we have our events coming up. That's the big event, the fall, the autumn equinox event. So that's what we're looking at forward towards September 21st, 22nd, 23rd. You wanted me to say something else? Oh yeah, we have our South Carolina event too. South Carolina, for those that's going to be in the area between Georgia and North Carolina, we're going to have our South Carolina event in Columbia. South Carolina is going to be September the 7th. So it's going to be this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be going into the occult science of the Holy Breath. Then we have the same weekend, but this is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, September the 9th at Moorish Medicine. Moorish Medicine. This is going to be an excellent event too, in which that we're going to be going into the Syrians, the Anunnaki, and the Order of the Malkut, the world or the realm of the making. So that's a real deep one right there too. So these two events will be this coming weekend, Friday and Sunday. All right. The one for Sunday is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we ain't going to hold you long, but we're going to be strong about it. All right. And then and that's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, in Decatur, Georgia, actually at the Moorish Medicine. All right. Y'all can Google Moorish Medicine and get the information. Also, for the one for September the 7th, you can Google Rawtopian Bliss. Rawtopian Bliss. All right. That's RAW, Raw, Topia, TOPIAN, Rawtopian Bliss. All right. And you can actually do that. All right. So these two lectures is going to be powerful. Come on out, y'all, for those that's going to be in the area that's listening to this radio show. Oh yeah, no, appreciate you, brother, and thank your co-host, engineer back there. Also appreciate this guidance for keeping things together. So thank y'all for having me, and hopefully we can do this again soon. Right. Perfect. All right, sounds good. Peace and love. All right, peace. Peace. I know y'all didn't get a chance to hear what he was saying, and we apologize for that. I don't know why on this computer you can't hear what the other person is saying when it's coming through the same damn speaker. This shit baffles me. You know what I'm saying? But if there's any questions, definitely ask before I get up off of here. I wasn't expecting to be on here no 12 o'clock. But anyway, things happen. Shit happens, as they say. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
Any questions?
No, okay, I guess there's no questions. So appreciate y'all, checking this out. And we're gonna come on back here tomorrow and we're gonna do a presentation tomorrow though. I was just on the radio show tonight. So y'all can actually go and listen to that radio show. It's called what is called Seeker of Knowledge. Seeker of Knowledge. I think that was the name of it. If not, y'all can hit me up in the inbox and I can find it for you. But you can actually hear the whole thing, him asking me questions, and you can actually hear me respond from his end. All right. So we just want to, continue now for days, weeks, months, and years to come. We're moving towards our most cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of ourselves, protection, security, better economic conditions, and full contentment. We have so much happiness, enjoying our life, much more and more and more, shall come, shall be. All right. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor which every wish to be involved is bringing increasing rewards. We have so much success and abundance in our life that we're able to help, share, and give to those who are sincere along the way. We're moving closer towards the oneness of God and Goddess and the full release of our inner higher selves. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Ashe. We out.